Afternoon, everybody. I am Abamo, your OLC for the subject IT 6202, which is Database Management System 1. So for today, we are going to tackle week 9 to week 10, which is about the single row function. So the lesson objective for today is that after completing this lesson, the student should be able to, 1, describe the various type of functions available in SQL. Number 2 is that you're going to use the character, number, and date functions in select statement. So if you will recall class, we already used the function. Okay, so we use the function sum, average, max and min, and then yung count, right? So we use the sum to get the total. We use the average to get the average of a column. We use the max to get the highest value out of the elements in the column. And then we use the mean to get the lowest value. And then we use the count for counting the number of data or values, okay? So those are the functions that we use, okay? But there are other functions that we are going to discuss for today. Okay, we are going to use the character, the number, and the date functions in select statement. So the functions are a very powerful feature of SQL. They can be used to do the following. First is that it can perform calculations on data. It can modify individual data items. It can manipulate output for groups of rows. It can format dates and numbers for display. It can convert column data types. So there are two types of function. We have the single row function and we have the multiple row function. So for today, we are going to focus or we're going to tackle the single row function. Okay, so let's discuss the single row function. So for the single row function class, there are two categories. We have the character function and the number function. For the character function, there are two types. We are going to discuss the case manipulation and the character manipulation. And then for the number function, we are going to discuss the mod, the truncate, and the round. Okay, so these are the categories and types of the single row function. So let's start with the case. Okay, we're going to start with the case manipulation. So this is the case manipulation or the case conversion function. There are three types, the lower, the upper, and then the init cap. So the statement here for the function is that you are going to put the lower and then parentheses string. So if you're going to notice, there is a single quotation because that is to indicate that this is a string. Okay, so whatever string is inside in this parenthesis and single quotation, it will change it to lower. If your string is typed in capital letters, like with this one, okay, it started with a capital letter, the database, the management, and the system. So if you are going to use the statement lower or the function lower, the result will be what? It will change all the letters or the string into lowercase or small letters of lower. The next is the function upper. Function upper, so suppose that this is your string, the one that is inside the single quotation and parentheses. So if you're going to use the upper, what will happen is that they are going to change the cases of the character or the string into uppercase or capital letter. So that is for the upper. And then the init cap, okay, for the init cap, so suppose that this is your string. So if you will notice class or no changes, okay, it's because that, okay, for the init cap, it means that if, for example, you have three words, first letter in the word will be capitalized. Initial word or the initial letter, okay, the initial letter will be capitalized. So for example, okay, in the database, D is capitalized, M is capitalized, and S is capitalized. So that's the difference between the lower, the upper, and the init cap for the case conversion function. So again, the lower converts the mixed case or uppercase character strings to lowercase. The upper will convert the mixed case or lower character strings to uppercase. And then the init cap will convert the first letter of each word to uppercase and the remaining letters to lowercase. We are going to apply this in a SQL statement. This is what will happen. So select. We are now using the upper function here in the concatenated column L name and F name. So we label this one as name. We put an alias name from the authors table, where L name like, okay, it starts with capital letter S. So that is for the upper. For the lower, if you want to use the lower conversion or character conversion, so we're going to convert the cases of the L name and F name column small letters. So it starts with letter S, okay, with an alias of name. This one, okay, it should be init cap, wherein we are going to convert the L name, F name. It starts with capital letters. This is small letter as long as it starts with letter S. So let's try this one plus. Right. So now, if you will notice, most of the data in the M table, it uses all caps. So I'm going to apply the lower here. So select lower. I'm going to use the lower function. And then ename, concatenate this with the job. I'm going to put a comma, a separator for them. And then I'm going to concatenate it with the job using the OR operator. And then I'm going to label this, or I'm going to put an alias as name from M. So again, if you're going to check the result in the table, it's all capital letter. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to change it into lower case. So let's run this one. All right, now, if you will notice that I use the column e name and then the column job. It's concatenated and labeled as name, or the alias of this is name. And what we did is that I changed the cases from uppercase into lowercase. So it's all in small letter. But if you're going to check the original data, okay, if you're going to check the original data, let's call the column names. Okay, we have the e name and the job. Okay, then let me run. Do you see the difference, class? The init cap. So from here, I'm going to change the lower to init cap to show to you the difference. Okay, again, for the init cap, the first letter will be capitalized and the rest will be small letter. Again, the original columns, the e name and then the job. So the name here is the resultant column. So this is concatenated. The init cap, what it did is, okay, K is capitalized and then the rest is small letter. Same with the president. The first letter is capitalized, its initial letter is capitalized. That's why it is called as init cap. And then the rest is small letter. Okay? So that is for the init cap. Next, for the upper, I'm going to use another table. It's because that I have mentioned here, it's already capital, so you will not notice the difference. So let me choose another table. So select asterisk from profile. Okay, then run. So again, if you will notice, okay, all of the data here is a small letter. Now what we're going to do is that I'm going to change it into capital letter. I'm going to use the upper for the L name. Let me concatenate this one. I'm going to use a separator, concatenate, and then FN. I'm going to use an alias. So again, what I'm going to do is that I am going to change the lowercase into uppercase. So I'm going to call the original column to show you the difference. So let's run. Okay, I call the original column, which is LN and then FN. So I concatenated it, the last name and the first name, and I used the function upper to capitalize all of the letters. So after the upper, the lower, and the init cap, let's move to the next slide. We'll have the character manipulation. So again, we are done with the case manipulation. Okay, so we discussed the single row function, the character function, and the case manipulation, or the last type of the character function, which is character manipulation. The character manipulation, different character manipulation function, let's discuss this one by one. So concat, from the word concat, it means concatenate. If you will recall class, the way we concatenate is that we are using the or symbol or the parallel sign. So now there is an alternative in the concatenation. So you can use the concat function to do that. You can use concat and then parenthesis and then your first string separated by comma and then your next string. So if you want to call the let's say if you want to call the column to concat, then call the column name instead and concatenate it. So you replace the parallel or the or symbol with the concat function. Next is the sub-str. For the sub-str, it will define two words, okay? In your two words, you only want to display the first word with 8 characters. So that's why the result is database. The length function, the string, whatever is inside of this is the string. So it will return the size or the length of the string. So why did it return 8? Because the database consists of 8 characters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Is 8. And then next, the in str is that, for example, this is your string, the database. So it's separated by comma. There is a character here, which is B. The B here, we look for the position of the B. That's why it returned 5, because 5 is the position of B from the word database. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, if you're going to encounter the in str, it will return the position of the character. LPAD. LPAD stands for left padded. What does it mean? For example, you are going to call the column price. For the column price, you want to identify 6 digits. In case that the number, okay, in case that your number is not 6 digits, it will replace the digits with the space filler, which is the $sign. So for example, the value that we have is 360. So since it's only 360, meaning to say you only have 3 digits, and we need 6 digits. So therefore, what will happen is that we are going to put the $sign in the spaces to the remaining 3 digits at the left side. That's why it is called as left padded. And then for the R pad, it means right padded. It's the same. This is example, the column name is the price. It's set into 6 digits, okay? And then again, if the digit did not meet the 6 digits, okay, the spaces will be filled with $sign at the right side. Why it is called as right padded. So for example, our value is 360. So the remaining digits will be filled with $sign. So next is the replace. Replace is a function wherein you are going to replace the character. So for example, the word is or the string is database. The first character is the character that you are looking for, or the one that you have to find. The second character is the value that you will replace. Okay, so for example, A will be replaced with C. So that's why the original word database, okay, we replace A with C. That's why the result is B, C, T, C, B, C, E. So basically, we replace A with C. This is that trim. So trim D from the database. Meaning to say, class, the D will be removed from the word database. So if you're going to remove that, what will happen is that it will remove the D in the database, okay? Because you trim D. So in case, class, na, for example, going to trim A, okay? If you're going to trim A, for example, if you're going to trim A, so if your word is aniline, okay, you can trim A from aniline, the first A, but not the second or third letter A. So normally if we trim, we do that at the first character. Okay? So Again, for the definition of the different character manipulation function, we'll join value together. Instead of using the double bar or the or symbol, you are going to use the concat to connect or the join or to join the character literal string with two or more columns. str, it will extract a string of determined length. And then the length, it will show the length of a string as a numeric value. And then the in str will find the numeric position of a named character. And then the lpad, it will return an expression left padded to the length of n characters with a character expression. The rpad will return an expression right padded to the length of n characters with a character expression. And then the trims leading or trailing characters from a character string. If trim character or trim source is a character literal, you must enclose it with a single quotation mark. This is the SQL statement if you are going to use the character manipulation function. Let's start with the concat. So instead of the or the parallel symbol, we are going to use the concat function. Then select concat and then the columns that you want to concatenate. It's up to you if you're going to put a condition. And then next is if you want to use the sub str. Okay.